morning, children. Last class we started to study about separation of substances, and you know why the substances are separated. Who can tell me the answer of that question? Why we separate the substances? First, to remove unwanted substances. Second one, to separate useful substances. And you had already seen how we can separate the solids from solid substances. You know, who can tell me the four different methods? Yes. Handpicking, sieving, winnowing and threshing. So these methods are used to separate what? Solids from other solids. Two are solids. That separated substance also solid, and the substance that want to get separated also solid. Both are solid. Today we are going to study how the insoluble substances are separated from the liquid. Separation of insoluble substances from liquid. Separation of insoluble substances from liquid. Last chapter we already discussed about some substances that dissolve in water. Example, sugar, salt. And the solids that cannot be dissolved in water. Solids. Yes. Sand, sawdust, etc. Okay. So now you are going to study how these insoluble substances, typical example, sand. When we add sand to a glass of water, what will happen? Last class you have already seen it. What will happen? The sand will mixes with the water, but after some time, what we can see? Yes, I have kept this water for nearly half an hour. So just observe. Could you see the sand settle at the bottom of the water? Hope you can see it clearly. I have mixed the sand in a glass of water and kept it aside without touching for nearly half an hour. So you can see what the sand settles at the bottom, and that process is known as what? Sedimentation. First method of separating insoluble substances from liquid. First step is the sedimentation. After adding the sand to a glass of water, immediately sedimentation doesn't take place. You need to keep it aside for some time, someday half, someday 1 hour, etc. without touching it. Then you can see the sand. You know, sand is heavier than water. That also you have already studied some substances. Zinc in water. Which type of substances zinc in water? Substances that are heavier than water, zinc in the water. And what type of substances float on water? Substances that are lighter than water floats on the water. You know, sand is heavier than water. So what happened? Yes. So we can separate the sand from the water. That we can see how. So the first step is what? Sedimentation. First step of separating the insoluble solid from a liquid, that is known as sedimentation. When we add that substance into a beaker or glass of water, after some time, just stir it properly. After some time, you could see that the solid, sand is the solid. It settled at the bottom of the glass. What we want now? We want to separate, isn't it? We want to separate this water. That is what we want. Our main aim is to separate the water and the sand. So what can be done? We can slowly transfer this water into another glass. Without shaking it. See, I have transferred. See, you can see the sand at the bottom. Could you see it? Yes. See the sand at the bottom. Then I have transferred that water into another glass, and that process is known as what? Decantation. First step is sedimentation. Second one is what? Decantation. First one is the sedimentation. As you already seen, the sand gets sedimented at the bottom of the glass. And next our step is what? We want to separate the water and the sand. Already in the glass, you had already seen that water at the top and sand at the bottom. But our main aim is to, yes, separate the water and the sand. So what did I do? I just pour that water very slowly. I couldn't shake. When I shake, you know what will happen. When I shake the glass with sand, no, the water, when I transfer the water also, the water will contain what? Sand particles. So slowly, without shaking, very slowly, I can transfer that water, or I had done like this. So you can see the water here. Clear? And that process is known as what? Decantation. What is that? Decantation. What is decantation? Pouring of the water. You know, sedimented sand is there. Pouring of the water very slowly into the another glass. Then in this way, we can separate the insoluble substances from the water. Insoluble substances that are mixed with the water, we can separate it like this. Clear? First step is you already seen sedimentation. First we let the glass or the bowl or beaker there for some time without touching it, and just after some time, half an hour, 1 hour, depending upon the quantity of the sand or water it may be, you just keep it aside, and after some time you could see that the sand gets settled at the bottom. You had already seen it. Yes, sand gets settled at the bottom of the glass. Then we can just pour off or decant the water into another glass. And second step is what is known as what? Decantation. Clear? So these two methods, hope it is clear. Then third method, it is the filtration. Filtration is a method of filtering of what? Insoluble substances. Filtering of insoluble substances. For example, you know, yes, this is the, I have mixed, this is the, tea test with the water. Tea test, tea test with the water. I have mixed the tea test with the water. Chai pudi tea test. And I want clean water. So, that by using this sieve. This is the sieve. In the kitchen, your mother often she uses it. So, I can pour this into another glass. See, slowly I can pour this into a glass of water. And you know that I will show you the tea test. Actually, some amount of it has what? Decanted, and already decantation had already taken place, and you know that this water, hope you have seen, yes, the tea test is there inside the sieve. This is a sieve, see, and this consists of only what? Yeah, tea only, no dust is there. Dust is where? It is, this dust is there inside this. Clear? Yes. This is the filtration. Here we are using this filter. Clear? In the kitchen, your mother often uses it. If you want to check it, you can go and check it today itself. Clear? So this, you could see that the solid, this is a solid particle and this is a liquid. So we have separated this solid particle from this liquid. Clear? So this is the sieving method. Not only that, in the in some areas, the water is completely muddy, dirty water. In such conditions, people, they use the cloth, white cloth, they pour water. Just imagine this is a white cloth and they pour water into it. And this cloth can be used as a purifier. And white cloth often, then only we could understand about the quantity of the dust particles there. So white cloth people often use for cleaning the water in some areas. In the laboratory and all, filter papers are used for doing the filtering the substances. In filter papers are used in the laboratory, especially the chemistry lab. When you go to higher classes, you are going to see it and you are going to do it. That time you will understand it more. So the filter papers are used in the laboratories for doing the experiments, and the filter normal in the AC air fresheners and all, no, we are using the small air sievers are there. Filters are there. Filters are there in the AC air conditioners, and as well as what, air coolers, and water purifiers and all. You have seen purifying. Wherever purifying takes place, we could see some filters there. Air purifier, filtering what? Dust particles, isn't it? Filtering the dust particles. So they are using small hole. This is not that much small, isn't it? This is for purifying somewhat big, comparatively bigger substances size. But the air consists of very, very, very small particles. Very, very small particles are there in the air. So in such conditions, that the holes are very, very small. The filters used in the air conditioners, filters used in the water purifier, they all have minute holes, small minute holes are there that help them to filter it clearly. And in the laboratory, they are using the filter papers. And what? In the kitchen, we are using the filters. And duck also filter by using the beak. It also filter the water. The waste material, it wanted fish, and the water will be filtered through it. So duck is also adopting the filtration method. Clear? So the third step is the filtration. First one you have already seen. That is the sedimentation. That means we allow the dust particles or the insoluble particles. You should say like that, insoluble. That means substances that do not dissolve in water. So substances are allowed to be in the water. So what happened? After some time, they get settled at the bottom of the glass or the beaker. Then what will happen? Then separation is already over. Then we can slowly decant, slowly pour off it into another glass. Then we can separate what? These two substances, insoluble substances. Other method is using of what? Filtration. Different methods of filtrations are there, by using the filters. Any type of filters can be used depending upon the purpose. Kitchen, as I had already told you, for saving the tea. We don't want to have the tea just along with the tea. In that condition, we are using I have already shown you that. But in the air filters, AC air conditioners, air coolers, in the water purifiers and all different types of filters. Wherever filtering of air, wherever the air is getting filtered, filter purpose is to clean the air. Wherever that takes place, filters are there. In the laboratory, they are using what? Filter papers. One more question you can expect. And in some areas, people are using that cloth, or in some there is a papers. Even though it gets wet very easily, some situation you can fold the paper. You can fold the paper in the shape of the cone and can be used as a filter. Paper can be folded in the form conical shaped and can be used as a filter. Clear? So this is about the third method, that is filtration. And last method, it is the loading. See, when we observe this water, this is not very clear. Minute dust particles are, those who have, just observe it carefully, the water is not very, very clear. Minute dust particles are there in the water. Minute dust particles are there. So it is not easy for me to filter it. When I use any type of filters, these dust particles can block that holes. So what happened? I cannot use that filter again. And the water will not get purified also. I cannot use the big filters because the dust particles are very, very small. When I use the small filters, sometimes the dust particles can block the hole. So I will not get clean water. So in such situation, if you want to purify the water that having dust particles, we can use a substance known as alum. That is it. We can use a substance known as what? Alum. When this alum, these dust particles, they are very, very small, lighter than water. Very, very small particles. So this is the alum. It will be available in the grocery shop. When we go, you will get it. This alum, when we put this alum in the glass of water, it takes some time. So what happened, the dust particles, they will stick to this alum. Alum is a stone, isn't it? Stone, you can see it, stone zinc in the water. Stone very easily zinc in the water. It will not float. Only one stone float in the water. Who can tell me the answer of that? Yes, pumice stone. Why it float on the water? Air holes are there. Normally stones know when we dip, so it sinks in the water. So when this alum is a type of stone. When this alum, when we put it in the water, you know what happened? Slowly, it takes time. Slowly, these small dust particles that are in the water, it will stick into the alum. It will stick into the alum. And what will happen to the dust particles? Their weight will get increased. Why their weight get increased? Because they stick to this alum. Alum is heavy, isn't it? Yes. So what happened? All the dust particles, minute dust particles, they stick to the alum. And what happened? They slowly settle down. And we can decant the water. It is not clear now. It needs some time for clearing it. So what happened, after when you see that the water is clear, all the dust particles, it starts to settle. I don't know whether you can see it or not. The dust particles start to stick on the alum. The dust particles start to stick on the alum. So slowly what happened? All the dust particles, it stick to this alum. And very slowly, what we can be done? We can decant it. We can decant it into the another glass. Slowly, if the slowly I could see that minute particles are moving and they are sticking into the alum. And what happened? If you keep it for some time, depends upon the dust particles in the water. Sometimes 1 hour, 2 hour, etc. Then afterwards, we can slowly decant that water. And we can use it for our purposes. In some areas, in some places, the water is not at all clear. So, people, they used to do this. In full bucket of water, they just, small piece of alum is enough. And what happened, they just wait for nearly overnight, maybe 10 to 12 hours. Then the whole water will be purified. Then slowly, they transfer that water into the another bucket. So, it will be good for there. Mainly for the bathing purpose only, they are using that water. Drinking purpose, of course, we want to boil such water. We cannot drink, after putting the alum, we can't able to drink that water. We want to boil it. But for, taking bath, people are using it regularly. They put the alum in it, the bucket of water, and close it. Next morning, they can use the water. After what? We cannot mix that water again. What will happen? Yeah, all the dust particles again will mix us with the water. We want to slowly decant that water into the another bucket. Clear? Yes. So these are the main 4 steps for separating insoluble substances from the liquid or from the, you have seen 4 examples here, 4 methods. First one, you have already seen about the sedimentation. When the insoluble particles mixes with the water, you just let this water glass be there without touching for some time. Slowly the dust particles settle at the bottom of the glass. Then you can, second step is what? Slowly pour that water into the another glass. That is the decantation. Next step, then we get the good water. Next one is the filtration. It is for separating the, particles from the water by using the filter paper. Filter paper, normal filters. You can use another filter, cloth can be used. Filters can be used. Different types of methods are there for filtering. And last step, the minute particles are there. It is so difficult. If we use all these methods also, we cannot filter it. The water still contains that, as I have already shown you, it can still dust particles are there. So what we should do to such water when we add alum? It's a piece of stone to the water. These dust particles, they stick to the alum slowly. And we need to decant that water into the another glass. And for drinking purpose, we can't use it because maybe microorganisms are there. We are not clearing the microorganism. We are only cleaning, separating the solid substances only. Microorganisms can be purified by using a boiling method. We want to purify it. Normal method cannot be adoptable for, killing the microorganisms. So, Lording can help us to get pure water if the dust particles are very small in size. Water filters we use, it can sometimes block the filters also, holes of the filters, so it cannot be used. Then, the rain is a very good filter. You know what happened, rain, in the air, different types of dust particles are there in the air. So when the rain comes, rain acts as an loader. Rain is an example of loading. When rain comes down, it carries all the dust particles along with it. So it will keep our surroundings clean. After rain, we get fresh air. We can feel the fresh air. You know why? Because the rain, it carries all the dust particles along with it. So rain is an example of flooding. By adding alum, we can purify the substances. That is one example. And alum. Next one is the rain is another example of flooding. So now, children, you take the textbook. I would like to give you an activity. Page number 57. Please take page number 57. 57. One activity is given there in the textbook. Perform loading using alum. I just read this. Take a handful of soil and mix it in half a bucket of water. Stir the mixture. Stir means what? Yes, stirring the mixture vigorously means what? Very powerful, you need to stir. After about a minute or two, fill equal amount of this water in 4 beakers A, B, C and D. Yes, handful of soil in a glass. 4 glasses are there, glass is enough. You can mix in water and stir it vigorously. Then just wait for a minute. Then you take another 4 glasses. Or first you can take a mug or something, and again 4 glasses of approximately same size. Then fill that 4 glasses equally by using this muddy water. And take 4 spoons also. Okay. You can label A, B, C and D. You can just write label 1 glass A, 1 glass B and 1 glass C and last one D. Add half a teaspoon of salt to A. First glass, having muddy water, add a spoon of half a teaspoon of salt. Second one, alum powder. Alum can be ground into powder form. Third one, talcum powder. The powder that we are using, normal facial powder. Yes. And D, only soil and water. Don't want to mix anything. So first we mix 1 spoon of soil into a glass of water. Mix it thoroughly and take 4 glasses. Label A, B, C and D and slowly add equal amount of water, muddy water into all 4 glasses and fill this equally. And first that's label A and 1 teaspoon of salt. Second one, alums, powdered alum. I have shown you the alum. You can just grind it and make the powder form, just powder. Next, talcum powder, normal facial powder. And last one, you don't want to do. Stir the content. Don't use the same spoon. Use 4 separate spoons. Plastic spoons are there, plastic. Disposable. Just using that spoon, stir it. In which of the beakers do the soil particles settle at the bottom quickly? You are supposed to do this activity. And take the photo and send to me. After watching this class, just 1 week after watching this class. After just 1 week, I will just inform you the last date. So, do this experiment. Take the photo. That's very important. You just take the photo of what you have done and send to my personal WhatsApp. That's in only you will get the marks. Then along with that in the paper, you should write the answers of this question also. In which of the beakers do the soil particles settle at the bottom quickly? In which part is it in the salt bowl or in the alum bowl or in the talc bowl or in the another plain bowl? Which of the above substance can be used to clean muddy water? Salt, alum or talc? 2 questions are there. So first you should do it. It's very important. Nowadays instead of you are supposed to do all the activities. It all carries mark. So do this activity. I'll give you more than 1 week for completing it. So nearly half an hour is enough for doing this maximum. So do it. Take the photo of the 4 glasses. What you have done, I want to see it. And afterwards take a paper and write the answers and send to my personal WhatsApp number. If any doubt is there in between, you are free to contact. So as I used to say every time, kindly do the activities given in the textbook and study the notes. I will inform a date I want to conduct a test paper for you. Second chapter we have not conducted in test paper, so I would like to do it. So just study properly, be ready, second or third chapter, or be ready with the answers at any time. Clear, children? So be safe, stay at home. Until we meet in the next class, it's bye from me. Take care.